New location, same people, right? At least I'm the same. Okay. So what I'm talking about, Beth's not gonna like this at all.
Oh
But
no.
this is more. You can't read my notes.
I'm not reading your notes. I'm seeing them.
This is going to be more reasons why we believe in the little season. Somebody says, "Oh, you're not talking about the Bible much." Well, I can give you all of the biblical things, but a lot of people that get here do read the Bible and they've seen those. And people have put lists out. Wade through that. If you want more biblical reasons, solely biblical, I've done lots on that. I've written that 40-page paper on it.
Oh yeah, you can email us for that.
Yeah. So, this thing's
And a
jiggling
bunch
a
of
little.
people have.
Is that going to bother anyone? Here, it's your knee.
Oh, okay.
So, anyhow, I wanted to talk about more reasons I believe this is the little season. I think Candace Owens is the perfect example of how Satan deceives. Okay? So, let me talk about her for a minute. You like this? You don't like this?
Oh no, I'm waiting with bated breath.
Okay.
I don't know what you're gonna say.
So she's a truth speaker, and it's not really what she says that is the problem. Like she says a lot of really true things. Like she denies the moon landing. Right now she's in the middle of a big thing where she's talking about Bridget Macron being a man. But here is where the irony of this little season and where you can see Satan's tactics come in. His best move is to have the person leading the charge, pointing the finger at a transvestite, is a transvestite himself. Okay. Oh, Theron, you're crazy. She's got 4 kids. Okay. First of all, just back up.
What she said?
What?
What she said?
Candace Owens?
Wow.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, she's married to Lord Michael Farmer or something, who has connections, has a relative that's married into the Rothschilds. Just first of all, just right off the bat, and that's a Google search can tell you that. Here, I took a screenshot of it. There are connections to the Rothschilds, yet she's supposedly an anti-Semite, which again I go like this much, right? That much, that shouldn't just be that much. Where is
Lord Michael, yeah.
Farmer.
Just says farmer.
Okay, what does it say? That first thing on AI
Lord,
overview.
AI overview. Lord Michael Farmer, a prominent British businessman and conservative life peer, is connected to the Rothschild family through marriage.
Okay, so that is her husband's dad, big conservative, and now they're pretending to have like a family skirmish between, and he's like defending the Israel, saying distancing himself from Candace Owens, but it's all theater, guys. This is where you see it has no end to his deceptions. Like every time we think there's somebody to be like, let's cheer them on, they're exposing all this stuff. Whether it's RFK Jr., Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, none of them are good. None of them are real. They're all the puppets. They're all the actors. And they're actually the best actors because they have to do this, they have to walk this line of like, okay, people know the moon landing is not real. So we got to give them somebody, but not have like, with Candace Owens, I've always been like, great. I've been like, go more. Because once you know that we didn't land on the moon, the whole pedestal for government, that everything that it sits on crumbles, right? And they're all free fall. They're all go down, go, oh my gosh, this is beyond any party. This just shows that the whole thing's a house of cards. Why doesn't she take the whole thing down? Why does she allow it to still cheer on the Republicans? Charlie Kirk said this thing the other day when Trump wouldn't do the Epstein files. He said that I don't care about I don't want to talk about that. I trust my friends in the government. I trust Trump, and I don't want to talk about Epstein files anymore. You take a guy who's exposed the deep state and all the corruption and the swamp, and then all of a sudden says, I trust my friends in the government. Like, a sentence he should never say. Right? If he was real, be like, oh, I don't trust. Of course, you can't trust this dodge of the Epstein files. But the whole thing is a distraction anyhow. But let's just say he was real. He should never give his side a bye. That, like, a truther like that couldn't do this kind of thing. So
Yeah, and it's just a way to sidestep, like, if somehow he was a real person. It reminds me of when people are like, I don't want to talk about the shape of the earth. Like, whatever. God made it. Like, nah. And you're like, no, you must look deeper into this if you really care. And his whole platform is a political influencer to then be unwilling to fully search something out and keep going with it. I think he says that because that's how you relate with you trying to convince regular people to just like, oh, let's look over here instead.
Well, yeah, but when you see inconsistencies, you have to then ask the question, like, what is going on?
And if it's your job to analyze politics and politicians and reach out to the common man like Charlie Kirk or the common college student or whatever, you can't play that game.
Yeah.
It's a cop out.
Okay, so about being inconsistent. Let's talk about Ken Ham for a second. The way he stands on certain truths of the Bible about creationism is very admirable. But at the same time, totally turns his back and denies things about biblical cosmology. Okay, it's inconsistent. It's not possible to do those things. Dean Odell is... Go ahead.
His intense focus is those first chapters of Genesis, and then how could you miss, the stars are set in the firmament. Take it so literally that he's, built this ark and come up with all these ways that it's literally true, that creationism is literally true, and then miss the biblical cosmology. Yeah.
Then you've got Dean Odell. he's the next step. It's deny or acknowledge biblical cosmology, deny little Caesar. Okay? And again, the stuff that he hangs on his hat on and says this is solid, he then completely undermines words of the Bible and says, no, you can't take that one seriously. You can't take that. Ignore that. This is not what it means. This means that generation, not this. This doesn't mean this. Josh founded Earth Brothers, same thing. These are things that you just cannot. You can't let it slip. You go, oh, these are inconsistencies. Like, one thing about truthers that we know is that as we go, it keeps going, right? We didn't just stop biblical cosmology and park there and then put the brakes on and then deny everything. We actually keep going, and that's the sign of, like, you're real.
Well, I could be accused of not keeping going just because I don't really keep up with, like, what's happening with the truther movement. But I think that's a little different than not pursuing what's in the Bible and what my eyes can actually see. I mean, I've just kind of stayed out of the...
Well, I think there's a difference between you don't want to get into tranny world and saying, no, they're definitely not trannies, right? Like, when it comes to every first lady of this country, they're all dudes. I haven't studied every one of them, but I am sure that the pattern is there. Like, the first lady is this is the greatest irony, is that they're all men. Right up to melanoma, Trump. Melania. Right. And again, you here's another concept I wanted to talk about that is very well utilized by Satan in the little season, is that we'll believe something could potentially happen in the future, but yet reject the idea that it's already happened in the past. So technologies, for example, will be like, yes, someday they may be able to clone people and and make versions of people that aren't really people. Someday. But we can't for a second go, well, that's already happened, and they're so integrated that we don't really know the difference. I actually tested Bethany this morning. She's like, yeah, I think you can kind of...
Did I pass?
No, you did what I thought. We walk around a lot, Belfast, and we go on the footbridge and we talk to people, and we look for a heartbeat for real people. Okay. Plenty of people are in their own worlds, earbuds, don't even make eye contact, walk around. But there's not many times we won't be down there for an hour and meet 2 to 3 like real people that we have conversations with. Not to say anyone that walks by us isn't real, but there's something amiss about a lot of people. We notice this with our children. Sometimes we'll go, are all these children, like, we know what it is to have children. What's wrong with them? They seem like they're in comas. They seem like they're not alive. They're not lively.
Yeah.
And we've made this comment without really connecting anything to it. Just been like, they're just, people are... Well, I think there's two different... There's probably a lot of options, but some of them, through all the pokies, through all the deadening of the government schools, they're getting squashed. They're put in a vice, and they're coming out very, if they're guys, emasculated. But even if they're girls, they're all coming out like a very drugged out version of what people can be.
And some of that just even looking at screens and sort of attention span being so affected, and like a lack of engagement of like what's, sometimes you want to go like this in front of somebody's face and just be like, come on, like, are you there?
Yeah.
We'll try to engage with people and they just won't be snappy, Now I forget what I was going to say about that.
Well, the God-given personalities that we have that make us unique, we seem to have, we're something, okay? Whether you like us or don't, like, I'm a personality. I draw out responses from people. But there are some people that are so neutral, you just wonder, like, what's really going on? Have you been squashed in this vice of the world? Or are we actually also among versions of clones that we don't believe they could do yet? So Orwell sort of captured this idea perfectly in his 1984 book. He threw out the concept that in the future, he wrote that in the 30s, right?
Yeah, maybe 40s, but
30s, 40s. He said by 1984, they might be trying to rewrite history. So watch out that you keep a close eye on the history. The history that we have right now in the 30s is true. Watch out that by 1984 they might be trying to change it. Okay, the whole time the carpet really should get pulled out from him is saying the history that they had in the 30s is an entire lie, whole slew of lies, and that's not the one to hang your hat on. There's history has actually been erased. What we have is the Bible. And this is where I come back to this like booming bullhorn of a thing. Like, we have to believe in something. We have to believe the Bible is unchanged and is the King James Bible is there for us to guide us out of this mess. Because people that don't do that, I don't know how you survive. I don't know how you make it. I can't make it. And but I've said this before. I think a lot of people still believe in Mandela effect. That's fine, as long as you somehow believe that the Bible that you and I are both reading now is preserved somehow. That's the important key. That I go, do you believe they're all changing like simultaneously, miraculously? I don't know. I don't know what to say. But am I not making sense? Am I?
No, you are. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think as much as we don't trust the news for a second, we can't trust history.
Right. So what Orwell did was sort of throw this idea out that it would happen when it already had. the same thing with clones. Like, it might happen when it already has. I believe that Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, like these people, they're either clones or they're just theys. You know, they're not like us because they don't go down the path that is inevitable. And really, which one of us, whether doctors or doesn't matter what profession, lawyer, doesn't matter how much money you have on this, once you start realizing what this world is, Little Season, you would have to burn all association to evil things. Right? It was very easy in my life because I wasn't really tethered to these things. But let's say I had been a doctor and I started to see about these things. Could you remain a doctor in this world that once you see what's your degree, who's behind it and all this stuff, I don't know. I mean, again, there may be some places where doctors can survive in a little niche, but it would seem to me that a lot of these things would then just squeeze you right out. And if you had any backbone, any integrity at all, you just couldn't remain. Like, oh, go ahead.
And certainly not in a prominent, media type position.
Right.
If there's some way that a medical professional has survived, we've met some. They have a low profile. They've backdoored some things, and they're still making it. Or a lawyer, or I don't know, a teacher even. Like, how do you teach in the public schools now and avoid the stuff they're trying to force you to put on people? Well, there's probably some little niches, some, like, I don't know, math teacher or some way you've gotten in there and gotten exemptions and stayed under the radar. But to be a really prominent figure right now, I don't see how you can't, at the very least, be sold out, bought out, all the way to not even a real person.
Right. And this is where we don't, I'm not saying I know exactly how the clone thing work or the theys work, but I do see that there's something new happening right now. It's the climate lockdowns. Okay? Now, I've never even heard of that concept, climate lockdown. What are you talking about? Well, all of a sudden, we've got the truther community throwing out this, like, concept, climate lockdown. And I go, that's a concept that's totally new to me, and I don't like that you guys are all so familiar with this. Like, what are you talking about, climate lockdown? And Nova Scotia, New Brunswick are now banning people from hiking in the woods because of the fires.
The language of climate lockdown, you're saying, is coming from the truther movement?
Yes. So this is where the creepiest part is, because Satan owns so much of the truther movement. He's having all the truther people talk about this climate lockdown, but they're using terms like, it didn't matter that we didn't buy into the COVID narrative. What was creepy was everyone was like, flatten the curve, 6 foot distancing, out of an abundance of caution, protect your grandma. People started saying the same things, and we were like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, they're all in lockstep.
And now they're all in lockstep about climate lockdowns. And I go, I've never heard of that. I wouldn't think to say that. Now that you said it, it scares the shit out of me. Like, what are you guys saying? Like, this is the inevitable thing that's coming, as if now we all brace for this hellacious thing, so that when they try to do it, it's like we've grown accustomed to the idea of it, instead of raging like we should.
I think it's really funny.
What?
That we are supposedly, like, saving the planet because we live totally off grid, and we're, like, actually pretty, like, green in how we live, but we have a big family, which is, like, socially irresponsible for our planet. What are they going to do with us?
Don't say planet. People that don't watch this, no, we don't live on a planet, on our plane.
I'm trying to use their language to...
Right.
Yeah.
But you're going to confuse people. They'll be like, oh, we don't live on a planet.
It's a plane. Sorry.
Yeah, we...
But supposedly you said they're even trying to, like, shut down people going off grid and stuff. What's that
Well,
about?
I think the inevitable thing is once people come to grips with what they're doing, it's like going to be we'll run and hide, get out of it before you can. So I don't know. I don't know what comes next with this, but I get a feeling that Satan hasn't wasted any of his ideas. So futurism, for example, he hasn't. The reason he's got 95% of Christianity, maybe more, looking for the second coming, is he's going to utilize that to try to crash those people into nosediving. Okay, that's an important lie. The idea of climate change, he's going to use that some way to tighten the vice more on us, to squeeze out any life or personality or anything, and just get us into these bot molds. Where, oh yeah, I didn't tell you, I didn't get to this. The thing that really, once you become aware of this, I think it helps release you from the masses that follow along. Don't notice chemtrails, for example, or don't hold anybody's feet to the fire when it comes to pokies. Go, oh well, RFK is doing his best, or like, what is Trump, or give him a buy, or just sort of believing these things. I go, how insanely stupid are all these people? Once you realize that the clones all go this way to try to make anyone going the other way feel crazy, you go, but I don't care. You more so, right? Now, again, Beth's not really with me on the clone thing so much.
Oh no, well, I'm thinking of that disengagement or the attack. Actually, just saw something this morning where someone was like, what was happening in Belfast? And there was all these police cars on the dock or near the dock or something. And somebody was like, another shipment of illegal immigrants. And they just got eaten alive instantly.
Yeah.
We're all immigrants. How could you judge immigrants?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's like just that this attack is staged to silence people that are bringing up a valid point.
Now
there's
a guy that we know and like, and I don't believe is a clone. And I caught him in a conversation about Lewiston.
Oh yes, I remember this.
And I had just been through Lewiston. Lewiston is a town in Maine that has two magnificent cathedrals that supposedly were built by these. They worked in textile mills, and they were Catholics, and they just had to have a place to worship. So they just got to it and built these canals systems and these cathedrals and all these old world buildings like that.
For the immigrants.
For the immigrants, because they were Catholic.
The laborers.
They just had to.
Yeah.
They had to. Two of them. Let's do it. Along with like some Freemason building, some of the still have, like when you drive through there, I thought it was like some Middle Eastern mosque or something, but it was actually all Freemason, right there by the cathedral. Anyhow, this is an old world site, and they've shipped in from Portland busload after busload of us. What kind of people?
I don't remember what country they're
I don't know. Some other country, Somalia, Nigeria, something. And that town has gone to hell. It has gone to hell. You can't walk around those buildings now. And this is Maine, guys. This is Maine. But it's destroyed. And a friend of mine, my age, used to live there.
Grew up there, yeah.
Loved Lewiston. Left. Lives in Belfast now. And I was talking to him about Lewiston because I had just been there. And I was like, man, I couldn't believe that place. I was like, where am I on the south side of Chicago? What's going on? I felt like our lives were in danger. I felt like there were everybody was like, what you doing here, white boy? Like, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I was just here to see the cathedral. Am I not welcome here? It was palpable. We had a group of like 4 guys walk towards me and my 3 young boys at the time, like they were gonna just come after us, and they turned last second. And I was like, that was fun. We had a lady that as we drove by, she had these boggled out eyes, and she looked like the mayor of Chicago, okay, and she just like went and stared at us as we went by, and like I still have this seared in my memory of her eyes boggled out staring at me as I went by. I was like, holy smokes, this place is nuts.
Yeah.
Death's there. The Lewiston is gone to crap. So of course this guy leaves. And
raises his family here.
Raises
instead.
his family here. And I said, what? I said, yeah, I can't blame you. And he's like, he was caught with having to say politically correct things, but the proof of him leaving was that he did not want to raise his family there.
Yeah.
So despite his actions, I said, but you left, right? Because at the end I'm like, yeah, it's so great. It's so great and all. They got great soccer teams now, yeah. But you left to raise your family.
He would fall in the category of like this nice intellectual listens to NPR all the time kind of person who just like couldn't be brought to say that like it was bad that they brought these people in, like that went against all of his ideologies, and yet the reality was it was bad enough that he couldn't raise his family there. So
and it is bad. I mean, all of that is just shaking the table.
Oh, sorry.
All of that is we're forced to accept our own ruination. And if you say anything against it, you're a bad person. You don't care about people. It's like it's the same thing that happened with a fake, World War II thing. Somebody said, "I want you to talk about World War II." Well, yeah, fake. It's just all fake stories. People who admit that history has been made up to paint the Europeans in a good light, but then they'll be like, but if you question certain things that happened, and they'll say, well, you can't deny that. At the same time they're saying history was made to look good for white people, they're going to now say, well, you can't question the history that we've given you either. Mm-hmm. Because, okay, well, let's throw that out, but let's also throw that out. Mm-hmm. In fact, I'm going to throw it all out, guys. I'm going to throw it all out, and the dates you give me for big wars, I'm going to wonder what's going on. Okay, Ricardo gave me something that was interesting. Every 80 years since, he may want to do this, so I won't steal it from him. I'll let him do it. Maybe he's already done it, but every 80 years, something big. So, 1776.
I bet he won't mind.
Okay, then Civil War, then World War II. He skips one, and then now we're coming up on the next one. Thinks it's the final. Of course, I think it's the final too. Like so those are resets to a certain extent. Like not obviously when Satan was released, there was massive flooding, massive world destroying,
like earth changing.
Earth changing. Oh yeah, fittest flat earther guy, which he was talking about trees. There not being enough trees that are old, that show that our world's been through a catastrophe. Okay. Maine is a big state. They say in the mid-1800s it was 90% farmland, 10% wooded. Now it is 90% wooded, 10% farmland. Okay? We can see evidence everywhere on this property, other properties, doesn't matter what property, of stone walls throughout. In fact, somebody has said that the stone walls throughout New England, if you added them up, they are as much as 5 times the amount of length of the Wall of China, which is 15,000 miles. And I would go, yeah, absolutely. We probably have 10 miles on this property right here of stone walls on just 85 acres, right? So everybody's got these stone walls that actually prove to us that something is amiss. Like, who did all that? And the stories don't add up. We know that. But what that tells me is that everything was laid waste. There was some sort of catastrophic earth movement that got rid of all the trees that were on the surface and just made it into like
allowed it to be clear. Yeah.
Clear. And so what we see now are the results of the last 249 years of growth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some trees did survive. Some trees are thousands of years old from the old world, and most of the buildings are buried. So
Right.
we know from the buried buildings something catastrophic happened. I think that was the original reset. However, there are certain writings and testimonies in the late 1800s of like rain events, or even Charles Dickens when he writes his book, It's the Best of Times, the Worst of Times. Was that Tale of Two Cities? He talks about how it looked like Noah's flood the floodwaters had just receded in France, right? When that book starts, you go, what's he talking about? Well, what we're seeing now is weather manipulation. What they saw then, I'm sure, was weather manipulation. And whether every 80 years they just sort of wash us out, or whether just do these weather catastrophes, I don't know. But I think we're coming up, and who doesn't feel the this feeling in the air like we're in for it, like what's coming. And now I don't want to get cortisol levels up. I still think God's going to make a way for us, but we go. It's a nuts party out there. Maine has been pretty quiet. It's dry as heck. We're really close to Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. They're doing fire bans, they're keeping people from hiking out there in the woods.
Because of supposed fire.
Because of you go, what? You cannot fish in Nova Scotia. Now that alone, you go, wait, you can't sit in a boat in water and fish because of a fire ban? Yeah. And you go, oh, it's nothing about fire. Absolutely not. It's nothing about fire. But like, why would a government do what the people don't want? Okay? This is where Candace Owens should go, whoa, there's something deep, dark, bad going on.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson be like, oh my gosh.
The government's not serving the people at all.
The government, yeah. And in fact, he needs to call everybody out and show that this is a circus, but he won't, because again, he's Joe Rogan and Tucker and Candace. They're all part of the system. They're the best actors because the truthers have fallen for them. See, we don't fall for Trump anymore. We don't fall for Biden or Janet Mills. We don't fall for that. There are people that do, but we don't. But we may be tempted to fall for the Dean Odles and for the Ken Hams. But see, they're the best actors out there, right? Oh.
I have to put in one plug for surviving. Like, okay. It might not be a non-cortisol raising. Can I put one of those in?
Do it, please. We need that.
So we often read a psalm or two at night, and how many of them begin with a sort of "How long, O Lord" sentiment? And again, I know that's not to our exact moment, but I just think in the grand scheme of things, as believers, we're just often asked to be so long-suffering. So I don't know. There's a long-suffering is long.
Yeah.
So...
Well,
see, that brings him down, though. To me, that's like
no, it doesn't. It's
okay.
It's good.
Carry on.
It's good to remember that, like, we're not the first people that have been asked to hold on when there's nuts stuff going on.
Right.
And this would very much fall in line with what how God has ordained things. So.
Yeah. So there's that too. So. We're
how do we do?
Balance it out.
Are we do okay in the schoolhouse here? I feel like I need to walk around more.
I'm kind of in a daze personally.
It is very hot. Beth is surviving.
I've formed a few sentences.
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of like got a sweat warming. Okay, Ken Ham. Did I talk enough about him? I like talking about Ken Ham.
Everybody else is probably in like 100 degrees, but to us, like high 80s is like, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about?
Do we have anything else recently?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. Well, That's it.